Welcome to It's a Woman's World, a show which discusses any and all topics under the sun from a woman's point of view. Our show believes that women should be treated with respect at all times and in all places. Here's today's moderator, Dr. Susan Strause.
Hi, and welcome to It's a Woman's World. I'm Dr. Susan Strause, and with me today I have two wonderful co-hosts. To my left I have Gloria
Van demmeltraadt.
I always like her to say her own name because I struggle with it. And to my right I have Beverly Crosby. Hers is easy to remember. At any rate, we have an unusual show for you today. I hope you'll enjoy it. What we're going to be doing is drawing questions out of the basket, and each of us will be giving a brief answer. But I'd like to encourage each of you, as you hear the questions, to think about how you would answer them as well. Are you both ready?
We are.
Let's see what the first question is, and you at home the same. What is your number one piece of life advice?
Number one piece of life
advice. Not an easy question.
I think it's a great question.
But it's not
I would
easy.
say stay true to your heart. Stay true to your heart. What you really think is right is right. What you think is right is right. I have second guessed myself so many times and realized, maybe so-and-so wants me to do this. Maybe I should do that for whatever reason. But I've learned to stay true to my heart.
Well,
That's
good
really
for you if you can do it. I think sometimes it's a challenge. What about you?
Well, I don't know what's the number one. I may think about it later and come up with another one. But one of the other points, I agree with you, Gloria. One of the other really important things in life is don't put off what you only want to think about, or don't put off tomorrow what you can do today, because our time goes by a lot faster than what we ever imagine. So if you do have goals and things you really want to do, set out a schedule. Life throws us challenges that may not turn out to be in the timing that you have decided upon, but still try putting a schedule out, like in 5 years I need to do this, in 10 years I need to do that. Because we don't want you to say, I wish I would have done that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, what great advice.
What about you, Susan?
I think for me it would be similar to what you're saying, which is life is short. I've got a friend who's dying right now. I've got another friend whose mother is dying. And it's really gotten me in touch with my own mortality. My mom is 94. And so life is short. I think we need to ensure that we've said to people what we need to say, including love and gratitude. That would be the piece of advice that I would give.
Great advice. Great advice.
Let's see what else is there. Okay. What are you the most proud of in your life?
I have to say, the first thing that comes to my mind, and I think maybe, most parents would say, my children.
Yes.
My 3 sons, and all the things that we went through in life, and how they each have such a big heart. And I think that's the thing I'm most proud of.
Sure. They learned it from you. What about you?
I think I would say the same thing, actually. I'm so proud of my family. I've got a huge family. I have 6 children. And they are so different, I can't imagine it. Well, they were a yours, mine, and ours situation, so of course they're going to be different. And I have 4 birth children, 2 were adopted, and then my husband has 2 children. So, but I consider them all mine. And they're all different and so exciting, and they bring such a new dimension to life for all of us. One of the things that we don't think about is we as parents or grandparents or whatever have to live by our children and grandchildren's decisions.
Yes.
We have to live by their choices now, and we no longer have much of an input, any of an input to those choices.
That's true.
Yeah, we got to keep our mouths shut.
And we don't like to think about that, right?
Yeah, I agree. I think for me, I agree with the two of you. My children, obviously, and if I put that aside, I think there's two things. One, my education. I'm very proud of my education. The other thing, and I don't know if pride is the right word, but I'm glad that I've taken mistakes that I've made in my life and that I hope that I've learned from them and incorporated some of the necessary change, not only in my thinking, but in my behavior to be a better human being.
Oh, how wonderful.
And that's,
That's a great thing.
Very
Now,
good points.
you are a PhD, are you?
well, it's an EDD, so it's a doctorate in education, but
I
the
see.
emphasis is in organizational leadership.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah, but I've got a nursing background and a public health background, and I've taught. I mean, you know, when you're old, you have a lot of different
How
experiences.
wonderful. How did you decide to do that? Yeah.
What, to get my doctorate, you mean?
Yeah.
I love to learn.
Yeah.
And so I went back to school at the
Good
age of
for you.
55.
Yeah.
And I thought if I can get my doctorate by the time I'm 60, great. As soon as education gets to the point where it's not enjoyable, getting my doctorate, if it's too much work, I just won't do it. But I loved it. And if I was younger and had more money, I'd go
Yeah,
back and get
yeah.
another one. But I'm not younger and I don't have more money.
Yeah. Give us another question.
Okay, here's the next one. How did you choose your children or your pets' names?
Oh,
That's a good one. How'd you choose your kids'
I
names?
have to think about it.
I'll go first. My first daughter is Amy. Her middle name is Sue, and it was actually my mom that came up with it. I loved the name Amy because it means beloved, and I liked what it meant. And then my mom said, why don't you take your name as Sue, now my name is Susan, but make it Amy Sue, and I liked that. And then my other daughter is Jill, and I really was going to name her Julie because I loved the name Julie, but my sister's name is Julie, and we thought, that might be a little bit confusing. And my mom again said, well, have you thought of Jill? And I said, yeah, I like Jill. And her middle name is Louise. So that's my mom's middle name and my middle name, and now it's my daughter Jill's middle name. I was hoping she would have given my granddaughter's middle name as Louise as well, but the big poop, she decided not to. What about you two?
Well, for me, it was the meaning behind each of the names, Chad, Aaron, and Eric. And, you know, one is strength, wisdom, you know. So very simple, short, four-letter names.
Positive words.
Yes, four-letter, yes. But the meaning behind them, that's what directed me.
What was the other meaning? Strength and what else?
I think one was wisdom.
Wisdom. I like that.
And I'm trying to remember what the last one was.
Which name was
But they're all
Wisdom?
positive.
Which name?
My, the middle one. And he is
And what was
very
his
wise.
name, though?
Aaron.
Aaron is Wisdom.
A-A-R-O-N.
And Strength was which one?
That was Chad. That was the
Chad.
first one. Yeah.
Okay, but you don't remember what the...
I don't.
Hey, you're entitled.
Yeah, now I have to look it up. I have to go home and look that up too. But I know they were all very positive, you know, for young men, you know, to carry throughout their life. But that was the meaning behind it had a lot to do with. Actually, had everything to do with what I called or what I named them.
I like that.
Yeah, Gloria.
I think these are also serious. I have, as I said, I have 6 children. I named 4 of them, and it's probably too long to go into it now, so I'll tell you how I named one of my cats.
It says our pets, yeah.
Remember the old book, Bell Book or the old movie, Bell Book and Candle? The cat's name was Pyewacket. And we had a wonderful Siamese cat. I've had many Siamese cats through the years. And somehow we decided to name that cat Pyewacket. And he was the greatest cat, and my kids loved him, and we all knew that that's where I think it was a witch's cat.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, I know, but he was named Pye.
Oh, for short? Did you call him Pye?
We called him Pye sometimes. But
Ever
his name
whack
was
it?
Pyewacket. Well, yeah, sometimes.
Well, I will add that my dog that I have now is Mackenzie. And my dad died, it'll be 13 years now next month, and my dog at the time, I had to put her down a few months later. My dad's name was Ken. So when I got this dog, I wanted to incorporate, so her name is Mackenzie. And it was as kind of a tribute to my dad.
Yeah.
What about you all? How did you come up with the names of your children and your pets?
Well, let's come with another question.
All right. What is your favorite pastime?
Ooh. Oh, well.
Mine is reading. But I do like to exercise, except not now in the winter. But reading and exercise, and I love to dance. Love to dance. I think if I didn't do what I did and went back to school, and if I was adept at it, I would be a ballerina.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I'm
wow.
not. So, but that's what I
I
like.
can see you being a ballerina.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
What about your pastime?
Well, you know, I think at this season of life, what I've really enjoyed the most, you know, I love to dance. I love to, you know, and I work out and things like that. But what I really have to say I enjoy is getting my nice comfies on, a nice blanket, maybe a little cup of hot chocolate, turning on and watching a good movie.
Yes.
Because for years, you know, life was so busy. For so
Yes,
many,
right.
that was not heard of. You know, I didn't
Right.
get to do it. So
We didn't give ourselves permission to relax and do
well, and with all the responsibilities,
Yes.
and being a single parent
Yes.
as well, and working and having a business and everything else, you know, and to this day, I love my quiet time.
Quiet time.
will retire.
You know,
love
you're
it.
right. You're right.
that's
I think
great.
we need it more.
Yeah.
Maybe not, but we enjoy it. I don't know.
I totally enjoy it.
That's a good. That's a good
Totally
one.
enjoy it. What about you,
I'm
Gloria?
a reader. Oh, I'm a voracious reader. I read at least 2 or 3 books a week. And I love to do it, but I love to write. I write, and I find myself getting relaxed in doing that. And I like movies too.
I do
and,
too.
And my husband and I like to curl up in front of the fireplace and watch a good movie at night. We really enjoy it. We like the mysteries. Mysteries
I do
are,
too. I do
are
too.
really fun.
And reading the mysteries.
Yes.
And see, you talk about writing is relaxing to you. It makes me nervous.
Oh,
I don't like
it
writing.
is so fun. Do you know, I learned in writing that my characters are moving, and my characters in their conversations will move the plot along. And when I first realized that, it was such a revelation to me. It was so exciting. And now I'm finding that I really get positive joy out of it. And when they're having a dialogue and they'll be talking together and they'll change the plot into something that I hadn't even planned.
Oh my gosh.
It's amazing.
It's a
so
gift
so
that you
the
have.
characters write the story.
Okay, but is that relaxing to you?
Oh,
That's what blows my mind too.
It is.
That was just, oh really?
It's exciting and it is relaxing too. It gives me, I think it takes away stress.
Okay.
Oh, make it
Because
for me.
that's
Does it
going
flow?
on to the characters.
Does
The
it just
characters are
flow
doing it.
then when you do
Yes,
it?
it flows. It
Isn't
flows.
that-
Do you get writer's block?
Yeah, well, everybody. I don't like to call it that. We have times when we don't write. It doesn't fit or doesn't work. I don't like to call it block.
But you don't get stuck, is what I'm taught. That to me is
Everybody
writer's
gets stuck. Everybody gets stuck doing anything. But you just kind of get beyond it somehow.
I think, let me just add one more. I think the other thing I do, people relax in different ways.
They do.
Oh, yes.
Totally. I mean, listen to us. You know.
Yeah.
The other thing I like to do late at night to relax is maybe I don't want my mind to work. I've been working on the computer. I've been thinking all day, and I don't want to do that. I will cook. I will get. See.
That was Ali too. She liked cooking.
Yeah.
And usually it's soups, and I make a big pot of soup. And at any point, at any day, at a moment's notice, I'm sure I could pull out some soup from my freezer because I just enjoy creating, adding a few more spices, changing it up a little bit. And for me, that's relaxing. I don't have to think about it. I just do it, you know.
Oh, yes.
And I think I would add one more thing too, and that's learning. I really believe I'm a lifelong learner. And so I love to read nonfiction. I mean, I like fiction, but I like nonfiction stuff to expand my thinking and like to do critical thinking.
But that's relaxing to you.
It is.
Okay,
It
I
is.
like to do those things too, but I wouldn't call it relaxing.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either. Reading nonfiction and writing nonfiction is not relaxing to me. That's work. That's
Oh,
work.
writing it is
Yeah,
work, but
yeah.
reading it. All right, you ready for the next one?
Oh,
Ready?
Tell about someone who had a big influence over your life. You all think about this too. Who's had a big influence over your life?
I have an immediate answer to that, and it's a wonderful answer. When I was in high school in 10th grade, we moved, and I had been a horribly shy child, very, very, very shy. I didn't speak to people. I was really a scaredy cat. Yes. And we moved, and my mother encouraged me to try out for the choir because for some reason they thought I could sing. And I had tried out at my previous choir and got in the choir. So I went out to trials for choir and got in the choir. And the director was very famous, and it was really prestigious to get into this high school choir, which I didn't know, of course. And I got in the choir. And the director, on the very first day, made me sing a song alone.
Oh.
I wanted to die. I mean, will the floor open up and let me fall through? Oh, I was terrified. But I sang that song alone, and none of these people knew me. I was new in the school. It was a horrible thing. And I sang the song alone, and then there was this silence, and then everybody clapped, you know, like they do. But the teacher came to me after class and said, "You really have a gift. I'd like to work with you. Come see me after class." And he gave me weekly voice lessons all through the rest of high school.
Wonderful.
And he changed my life completely.
So have you ever sang professionally or anything?
Oh, I've sung all my life, yes. And it changed my life totally. Totally. I don't know what would have happened without him.
Isn't it
And at a young age,
Amazing.
Who would have thought?
His name was Yosh Murakami. Yosh Murakami. He was a Japanese American who was the most magnificent teacher who recognized something in this poor, scared little girl that I had that I didn't know.
And look at what happened. It blossomed.
Yeah, it changed everything.
What about you?
Amazing. I have to say Barbara Walters. Watching her on television, I've always loved to get the story. And I like to hear the story as well, but I would watch her mannerisms, and I think she's so poised. And she knows just the right question. She knows how to get to that question. And when maybe somebody else would just ask it, but no, she went kind of through the back door many times. And I used to watch her all the time, not knowing that one day I would do television work or produce, family legacies or anything like that, or that I would use it as a career. But I loved Barbara Walters.
She was good. She was cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
Yes. I think for me, I'd have to go back in history for some of it. I think of Elizabeth Cady Stanton, I think of Susan B. Anthony, and I think of other suffragists and what they've done. And they've had a huge influence on me and where I've gone in my life. And then, of course, our parents always do, and grandparents, so that I'm going to put that aside. I think another person that did was when I was in high school, and it was our speech teacher, and his name was Frank Plute. And I took one full year of speech from him, and then I took a second year that dealt with theater. And he had an impact on me, and of course, I do a lot of training now, and I hear him in here, project, and he's just kind of with me in the back of my head. So he's had an impact. But I think the suffragists have really been a catalyst for the work that I'm in and about equality, etc.
I can see that in you.
Yeah, thank you. That's a compliment then. All right, if you could change one thing in your life up to now, what would you change?
If we can change one thing,
what would it be?
One thing we've done, maybe, or a choice we've made, or
maybe even
like
a personality characteristic.
That's a very broad question.
It is a broad
really
question.
is. I know.
I mean, I like where I'm at in my life right now. I am enjoying this season of life.
Yes.
And all of our experiences have contributed to who we are now.
Yes.
So, we know that we can't go back, but I would just, I don't know that I would change much.
That's a really thoughtful answer.
I don't know that I would change much. I mean, some of the challenges in our life, maybe they wouldn't, we could do without those, and we've all had those.
But they've created who we are.
Yes,
Yes.
but we made our future choices because of what we did go through, because of those
Exactly.
same
That's right.
challenges. So, you know, I would just say, just stay healthy. You know, if we can just stay healthy. But you know what? I did some of the things I wanted to do because I couldn't think of a reason not to do them, a good enough reason not to do them. And if I look back and somebody says, do you ever regret not doing something? Or do you regret doing something? No. You know what?
Yes.
Because I have stories to tell now. I
Yes.
mean, some of them are good, some of them aren't so good, but
Yes.
I have stories to tell.
Oh, that's a great answer. I have to say basically the same thing. I wouldn't change anything. I've had some very, very hard times in my life, but they have made me who I am.
Right.
And I'm comfortable right now. I'm comfortable with who I'm turned out to be. And I'm almost grown up. I haven't really decided what I'm going to do when I do grow up. I won't tell you I'm elderly, but I'm getting there. And we are who we are because of the choices we've made in our lives. Some of them are not so good, but we learn from them. Yeah, and I think Beverly, I've given up regrets. I've given up regrets in this life, and I think I've lived long enough to realize that.
Yeah.
How about you, Susan?
You know, it's a hard question because I hear what you both are saying, and
Yeah.
I agree. I basically like the skin I'm in. Have I made mistakes along the way? You bet. Do I continue to make mistakes? You bet. Sometimes I think I'm not as compassionate as I could be. Sometimes I think I could be more giving. Sometimes I think I should speak out more on issues that are important to me. And I might take the coward's way out and not speak out. And sometimes I probably speak out. I should go like this because I should have kept my mouth shut.
We've all been there.
And as I'm sure that there's mistakes that I made as a parent that we don't always know that we make. But yeah, I'm pretty comfortable with where I'm at as well.
But don't you know that at this season in life, we get to be a kid again?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know? We get to be a kid
Yes.
again.
We do. We can do some of the things that we maybe didn't take the risk. And maybe that's something else. As a younger person, I wish I would have been more of a risk taker. I think I was a good girl. And maybe I shouldn't have been such a good girl. Some of us, when we go to our high school reunion and we're all talking and, you know, you run around with the kids that were like you and we were all, you know, good kids, we've said, dang, maybe we should have been a little bit more naughty. Maybe we would have had more fun.
I was a risk taker. I've always been a risk taker, and I didn't realize that until I was an adult. But I have to tell you of something that my mother told me years and years ago, and it is so true. She said if we could all take our troubles and throw them in a basket, we'd pick out our own. We'd take back our
really?
own.
Oh, that's
instead of
interesting.
someone else's. We would take back our own troubles because we're familiar
We're
with
comfortable
them.
with them.
Yeah, we
That's
know what they are.
interesting.
Well, here we go.
Here we go again.
How does being up at great heights make you feel?
Literally? Or in your career? Or
I'm thinking
literally.
Physically?
I'm thinking physically. I'm guessing physically, but I don't know. I guess we could take it however we want. It could be a great height professionally or physically.
Well, great heights, the highest that any of us probably been was when we were in a plane, I guess.
Yeah?
And I love it.
Or on top of the Eiffel Tower or the Space Needle, looking
well,
out.
those, okay, I would, give me a plane ride, I'm good. The other ones, not so sure.
Yeah, those are tougher.
know.
That's an interesting question. I hadn't thought about it, and looking at it in different ways.
Yeah, I hadn't
Physically,
either.
heights, as I get older, scare me.
Yeah.
I used to be, in fact, I remember painting a hallway, a stairway, and having one ladder hanging on another ladder, all standing on a board, a thin board, and I'm up on top of the topmost ladder painting the ceiling of this like 3-story stairway. I couldn't do that now if my life depended on it. It probably would depend on it. But when I was young, it didn't bother me. Now I don't like heights.
No, they give me the EBGBs. I mean, if it's really high, I can feel it. I can feel it physically. In terms of a career, I feel I've reached my height, and I love it.
Yep.
I love it. In
would
fact,
agree.
I'm ready to relax a little bit now. Something less,
New
less
season,
that.
right?
All right, here's another one.
Okay.
What was your favorite thing to do as a kid, and what did you save your allowance for? Whatever a kid means.
Oh, boy.
Oh, but we're kids now, aren't we?
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I didn't have an allowance when I was a kid. And what was the question again?
Well, what
What's
was your
our
favorite thing to do as a kid? Whatever age that might be. I think for me it was playing with my friends. We'd go outside. You know, that was back in the day where you didn't have to worry about somebody kidnapping you and all of that. I mean, we'd go outside and play, and at night we'd play free-for-all at night, sort of like hide and go seek. We'd go bike riding. We felt free as children, and I don't remember, I'm sure I had allowance, but what I spent it on. I think my whole thing with allowance was, Susan, you better save it for college. So I don't know that I spent it on anything.
I never got one. I never had an allowance, no. But sometimes my dad would give me a nickel, and I would go with my friend to the store and buy a mint candy bar.
Mint for a nickel.
Mint candy bar for a nickel. And as I said, I had a bad childhood, but my favorite thing was to go to my private place. I had a private hiding place by the railroad track, which must have been, I'm sure if anyone knew I'd gone there, they would never have let me do that, because trains came by, and I would go by the track. It was a trestle across a highway, and I would snuggle down in a little hole there that I had made, and I would just sit there and hide in this little hole and be alone and think my own thoughts and sit there.
What a nice memory.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, yeah, you know, that reminds me that I had a hiding place too. I mean, I think the favorite thing to do is go see our relatives and play with the cousins and things like that. But the other thing was my mother, we worked a lot. I grew up on the farm. We worked, and if my mother saw me not doing something, she would find something for me to do. So I had a hiding place in behind these
So she wouldn't find
lilac
you.
bushes. Honestly, yeah, not many people know this to this day, but I would go hide in that lilac bush, and there was a little area, and I'd pretend to play doll or house or something like that. So anyway, that was my thing.
I think we're running out of time, so we're going to have to end. So I thank you, Beverly, for being part of today's rather unique show.
It's been fun.
And you as well, Gloria. Thank you.
You are welcome.
And
it was fun.
Thank you to our viewers. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you asked yourself these same questions. Have a good day, and we'll see you next time on It's a Woman's World. Bye-bye.